on East Copper Belt Province brings to you The Lens, a program designed to bring insightful information on economics, mining, education, health, tourism, agriculture, environmental issues, sports, entertainment, current affairs, and many issues affecting the well-being of society. Welcome to The Lens. On today's program, we are discussing Mpongwe district here on the Copper Belt. As you may be aware, Mpongwe district is known as the breadbasket of the Copper Belt. And the district was declared in 1996. And since then, it has recorded a lot of developments, especially in terms of implementation of CDF projects. And the major economic activity for Mpongwe is farming and animal rearing, among other activities in that district. And from 2022, when the government increased the Constituent Development Fund from 1.6 million to 25.7 million kwacha, and now it has been increased to 36.1 million kwacha per constituents. And this also has been impacting positively in Mpongwe among the communities. And to discuss more about how CDF is working in Mpongwe district, I have with me in the studio Madam Cynthia Mutalange, who is the Mpongwe Town Council Public Relations Officer. Welcome to the program, Madam. And I'm your host, Tovin Ngombe. Thank you so much. And to begin our program, we'll first also look at what is happening generally in terms of CDF implementation project here on the Copper Belt. And we'll just right away take you to our screen and see some of the projects that are being done so that we appreciate and to see how also Mpongwe is faring in this field. All right. All right, Madam Cynthia, you can just check what's happening. This is a picture of how some of the pupils in classrooms were sitting before CDF was being implemented. I can actually maybe take you a bit back and see that picture of how the pupils were sitting in classroom. No desks, but with the implementation of CDF projects, we have seen an increase in the procurement of desks. And this we can see our provincial minister, Mr. Elisha Matambo, he's launching some of the desks that have been procured for the schools. And also you can see how the desks are being implemented. These were bought using constituent development funds right here on the Copper Belt to increase the learning spaces and also to ensure that a child has somewhere to sit when they go to school. And these are some of the projects that have been done here on the Copper Belt, and many other things happening right here. This one of I can see that one of the roads being worked on, a feeder road, and being cleared, and a culvert being made so that these people can have smooth crossing, especially when they are producing. This is a period of farming. So, and another we can see there, that's a health post being built in the middle of nowhere to ensure that people have access to health facilities. This is what's happening here on the Copper Belt with some of the CDF projects that are being implemented. And also, right now, I can skip a bit. All right, you can see there, that's also, people are excited there because of a maternity health that has been constructed, and now they are in joyful moods. And this is what's happening with the CDF money that is being given to communities and how it's being used. There are community members, they are also excited receiving a check from the minister, Mr. Elisha Matambo. The people are happy now, they are joyful mood because they are receiving the empowerment in terms of loans, and also people are receiving loans here which are being given. All these are happening right here on the Copper Belt in terms of implementation of CDF projects, and these people have been empowered, and these are the monies they're getting. We can see the maternity wing. The president also is at the heart of the presence to ensure that these maternity wings are constructed everywhere where there's a health post. And that's one of the maternity wing there, which has been constructed, and the school, which has been constructed by, and these are many of them in almost every constituency as such structures here on the Copper Belt. And that is what's happening. That is a market shelter where people can have a decent place where they can trade from. And that's also a school that has been constructed using the constituent development funds right here on the Copper Belt, and the people are now actually inspecting it. And that's what's happening. That's another school also from where we started from. So, Madam Cynthia, this is what is happening with the CDF here on the Copper Belt. And let's also look at Mpongwe. All right, Madam Cynthia Mutalange, you have seen how Copper Belt is faring in terms of CDF project implementation. Tell us also, how is Mpongwe performing in terms of CDF implementation?
Thank you very much. So Mpongwe district has not been left out in benefiting from the increase of the Constituency Development Fund. It's one of the districts on the Copper Belt that has performed fairly well in terms of implementation. It is a rural district, so our challenges were, the challenges that we faced as a district were quite large and wide. With the increase in the Constituency Development Fund, Mpongwe district has been able to witness an increase in the infrastructure development in the health sector, education sector. We've also seen an improvement in terms of people accessing clean and safe-drinking water.
All right. What are some of the challenges the district is faced with that you are addressing through CDF projects?
Okay. So Mpongwe district, being a rural area, has faced challenges in terms of road infrastructure. We've had issues with poor road network, accessibility to various areas, farmers having challenges in transporting their food produce as well as farming inputs. Then we also had challenges in the education sector. There was a shortage of classroom blocks, shortage of schools, a shortage of desks in the classes. In the health sector, we had a shortage of health posts. Mpongwe is quite vast, so people had to cover long distances to access medical services, which sort of hindered the provision of medical services. So those are some of the challenges that we've been facing as a district.
All right. Also, what are some of the activities or projects that you have been able to undertake using CDF in the past 2 years?
Okay. So following the increment of the Constituency Development Fund, Mpongwe Town Council is proud to announce that through the increase, we've been able to increase infrastructure development in the health sector, education sector, as well as the road sector. So in the education sector, Mpongwe Town Council has spent 14 million kwacha towards just the construction of classroom blocks. We've done 8 classroom blocks in Mpongwe. These are dotted across the various wards of Mpongwe. We've got 15 wards in Mpongwe. The notable among the classroom blocks that we've done is 1x2 classroom block that houses the science laboratory at Munkumpu Primary School, Munkumpu Combined School. This is the first of its kind in Mpongwe. It's the first time that the Munkumpu School or Munkumpu community itself is witnessing the construction of science laboratory. So those are some of the achievements that we've scored in the education sector. Then, aside from the infrastructure itself, we also did go a step further in doing desks. Mpongwe district had been faced with the challenge of shortage of desks in the various schools that are dotted across Mpongwe. So with the increase in the Constituency Development Fund and the directive by the President to all local authorities to ensure that we provide enough desks to these schools and ensure that no child sits on the floor while it's learning, Mpongwe Town Council has been able to do 3,200 desks. These desks have already been distributed to the various schools in Mpongwe. the distribution was done in partnership or in conjunction with Ministry of Education, because they are the end users, so they normally provide guidance on which schools we should take the desks to. Then in addition to that, the classrooms, the schools that we did, we've been able to provide desks to these schools that we've done. When we talk about these classroom blocks, for a district like Mpongwe, you're talking about areas or schools that, yes, it's a school, it's there, it's been in existence, it's operational, there are pupils, there are teachers, but these are schools that don't even have a school structure in place. You would find pupils learning under a tree. At times they would ask or engage churches. We would have pupils learning from the churches. But with the coming in of the increase in the Constituency Development Fund, we've seen councils being able to provide conducive learning environment for pupils. That has also increased enrollment for schools, for pupils. We've seen more pupils going back to school. We've seen more pupils being motivated to actually go to school because the infrastructure is there, the environment has been made conducive, the desks are there.
All right, and also, what impact are these projects having on people's lives, especially the most remote areas in Mpongwe?
The impact is there, it's quite positive. There is a school in Kasonga ward, that's like more than 60 kilometers from CBD. We've done a 1x3 classroom block there. Then there's also a water reticulation that has been done at that particular school. You know, the joy of seeing a child seeing piped water for the first time, you can actually see the excitement from that child. That child is not even able to abscond from classes because they're so excited that there's running water at the school. They're so excited they want to go to school every now and then just to ensure that they have a few of the piped water. Then aside from that, we've seen distances, accessibilities to these schools being reduced. Pupils will travel long distances to access education, but with the construction of these the classroom blocks that we've done, we've seen the distances being reduced. Pupils are now able to travel reasonable distances to access education, unlike it was in the past.
All right. Already you talked about the provision of desks to schools and so on, and again you talked about the president had a directive that no child should sit on the floor.
Yes.
And how is your council assisting the Minister of Education, especially at the district level, to ensure that they respond to this pronouncement that every child has an opportunity to sit on a decent desk?
Okay. So in terms of desks, what we do is that we work hand in hand with Ministry of Education, just right from inception. Ministry of Education do come on board to actually inform us as a local authority on the number of desks that they need, which schools we should take the desks to and all that. We also get specifications from them because they are the end users, so they will be able to tell us the type of desks that they want, the number of desks, and which schools we should take the desks to. Right now we are at procurement stage. We intend to procure more desks, that is 4,160 desks under 2024 Constituency Development Fund. So we've been working hand in hand with Ministry of Education. Then aside from that, there's a sensitization that we conduct in these schools to ensure that pupils do not really vandalize these desks once they are distributed to the schools.
All right. How much are you spending in terms of the procurement of desks?
For the procurement of desks for this year alone, our budget is 7 million.
Wow, that's a lot. 7 million in a rural district like Mpongwe.
Yes.
Oh, that's very wonderful. All right. Also, let's talk about the health sector.
Yes.
The president also gave a directive that every new health facility should have a mother's shelter to enhance the health of our mothers. And how is Mpongwe faring in this regard to ensure that this pronouncement is fulfilled?
Okay. So from 2022 to date, Mpongwe Town Council has spent 4,300,000 kwacha just on the health sector alone. Construction of health posts, maternity annexes and all that, we've spent 4 million. So these projects, the ones that have been done at the health centers, are also inclusive of a borehole. The classroom blocks that we've done also are inclusive of boreholes, with others having a water reticulation system. We've been able to do about 5 health centers, health posts in Mpongwe, just to reduce the distances that patients would travel from their respective homes to the main hospital in Mpongwe, the general hospital. Then, aside from that, in line with the President's directive, we've done a maternity annex at Chisapa Rural Health Center to ensure that expectant mothers are provided with shelter as they await to be attended to by the medical personnel. So this is also in an effort to ensure that we reduce on maternal deaths that we used to record. Mpongwe, Chisapa ward in particular would record high maternal deaths due to the distances that expectant mothers were required to travel once they were referred to the general hospitals. So we are very hopeful that with the construction of this particular health post, maternal deaths will be reduced.
All right.
Yes. Then also, aside from that, we did procure and we've already
maybe before you...
the hospital.
Okay.
Yes, we did procure medical equipment, antenatal equipment. That was antenatal, an incubator, phototherapy light, and some other equipment that is mainly used at the maternity ward that side to help with, to ensure that the referrals that we used to record as a district are reduced, and then to also just preserve babies as they come into this world.
All right. Well, viewers, if you are joining us, you are watching The Lens on your People's Channel, Zanis, coming right away here from Ndola on the Copper Belt province, and we are discussing about the Constituency Development Funds implementation, especially in Mpongwe district, which is one of our road districts here on the Copper Belt, and we are talking about how they are benefiting from the Constituent Development Funds. As you are aware, the funds have been government have been increasing these funds almost every year to ensure that communities benefit from them. Right now, with the Council Public Relations Officer, Madam Cynthia Mutalange, to share about how the council in Mpongwe is implementing these projects. All right, Madam Cynthia, also, Mpongwe is one of the districts that has also procured the earth-moving equipment. What motivated the council to buy these equipments at a huge cost, especially, of course, using CDF funds?
Okay, it's at a huge cost. I like that. So Mpongwe district, like you had said earlier, it's the grain basket of the Copper Belt. We do a lot of farming in Mpongwe. It's quite vast and all that. It's also a rural district. Most of the roads were in a very bad shape. A number of areas were inaccessible because of the roads. The road network was quite bad. So in an effort for us to improve local area connectivity, Mpongwe Council, councillors, the area member of parliament, the chairperson, the district leadership, and the community, we thought it wise that we procure equipment that will help us work on our roads. So the procurement of these vehicles, this equipment, is in response to the poor road network that we've been facing as a district.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And how many roads have you done so far, or are there any of the roads that you have done using this earth moving? Is it already being put to use?
The grading and spot improvement of roads has commenced, but development is a process. It just can't be done in a single day. So we've got 15 wards. We called for a meeting with their Royal Highnesses, the chiefs, the councillors, community leaders, and key stakeholders to select roads that would work on. we understand that we can't work on all the roads at the same time. So we requested that people from these wards submit the critical roads that needed to be worked on, that we could start with. So after that stakeholders meeting, we had a total of 97 kilometers of a stretch that we needed to work on. So this 97 is split into different wards. There's this particular ward that selected this road, the kilometers are this much and all that. So when we aggregated everything, it came to 97.1 kilometers. 3 million was set aside for the road works, that is the buying of the fuel, the lubricants and all that. The 3 million will be used as the administrative cost. So after that submission was done, we wrote to seeking guidance to the provincial local government officer, and who then responded and gave a go-ahead. So we've commenced the grading of the roads, and we are hopeful that in due course the district will be opened up, will improve local area connectivity.
How is the mood among the people who have been used to walking on bad roads, and now there is this grader working on their roads, walking into the area? How is the mood among the people in Mpongwe?
Well, you know, it has been a challenge for most of them in accessing their farms, accessing their areas and all that. So with the road works that we've started, it's really been an exciting thing. Most of them are actually happy. They are very thankful to the council as well as the government for really taking that step of grading the roads.
All right. Mpongwe is also among the districts which were affected with drought, and the farmers lost their farming produce because of the drought that was experienced. And through CDF, is there anything that you are using to help to mitigate these measures, especially to counter the drought? Or even, of course, drought also has affected even the water. So most rivers dried.
Yes.
Any plans to drill boreholes using CDF? Okay. Are there any plans for that?
So the drought did affect us quite badly as in Mpongwe district. I know it did affect the nation as a whole. So from that, the main challenge that we faced, of course, there's the loss that we incurred in our farms. Then there was also the issue of the water. Most of the water bodies dried up. The wells also sort of dried up. There was an issue of water now in Mpongwe. How do we access clean water? People are having challenges accessing water because most of the water points where they would draw their water from are dried up. So arising from that, we did go back to our drawing board, and then through the Constituency Development Fund, we are in process of drilling 34 boreholes in Mpongwe just to address the water challenges that we've been faced with as a district.
All right. Maybe in a few minutes, as we come to the end of our program, your last words to how CDF is being implemented, or if anything you have left out which you haven't shared with us here.
Okay. So the Constituency Development Fund is meant for the community. As implementers of the Constituency Development Fund, Mpongwe Town Council will ensure that it does implement the Constituency Development Fund in line with the guidelines that have been given by Ministry of Local Government. Then aside from that, we shall also ensure that we continue engaging in the community, because we do understand that these projects that we are implementing are for the community, and we need the community to come on board and be part of the whole process.
All right. Well, viewers, we have come to the end of our program, and my guest is Mpongwe District, in Mpongwe Town Council Public Relations Officer, Miss Cynthia Mtalange. It's been good having you on the program, Madam Cynthia. All right. And I have been your host, Tovini Ngombe, and Madam Mtalange has been discussing about how CDF, or the Constituent Development Fund, is being implemented in Mpongwe District, which is one of the road districts here on the Copper Belt, but rich in farming and also animal rearing. And I'm sure you have gotten one or two things there of how the Constituent Development Funds is helping to uplift the lives of the people, especially in the rural communities, to uplift their lives. And together with my technical team, we are saying goodbye, see you next time on the program, The Lens.